We've had a lot more people write in with questions for us to cover in our video blog, so we're going to do some of those today. The first one we're going to talk about is microchips. And microchips are a tiny little glass tube looking thing, and it's almost like what you see when you get your Christmas lights, those little tiny lights. It looks something like that. They put it in your dog's skin between the shoulder blades, and actually the needle that's used looks like a tiny little stirring straw for like coffee, so it is rather big. A lot of people ask me, when should I do a microchip? And I usually recommend that they do it around 14 to 16 weeks, only because it really is a big needle, and you know, for a little puppy it is kind of like a yip, ouch when they put that in. But they do have a lot of skin, so don't worry about it with Labradors. They have plenty of skin. Sometimes I'll give them shots or do the microchip and they won't even react, so nothing to worry about. Some of the pros and cons to it though, people have asked me. The pro is if your dog gets lost, especially if you even have a collar on it with a tag and it loses its tag. If that dog ends up in a veterinary hospital or a humane shelter, they will automatically scan that dog to find out, first of all, if it has a microchip. If it does, they'll hopefully have your name and phone number, which will be registered when you do that microchip, to be able to call you immediately. There's many different microchip companies. There's Home Again, there's Avid. Your veterinarian might actually have a preference about which one they like to use. Some of them are more prone to migrate than others, and I can't tell you which ones specifically because I've tried all of them and I've had a couple migrate. Mostly they'll just migrate maybe down into the shoulder area, or down maybe even as far as the chest area, but that's as far as I've ever seen them migrate, so I wouldn't really be super worried about that. Some people worry about cancer. All I can tell you is my experience, and that is I've had Labradors for almost 28 years right now, and everybody's had a microchip, and I've never had any instances where that microchip has caused a health issue. I have had them migrate, and I had only one in all those years that we went and we couldn't find it. So we had to re-microchip the dog because we were doing a health clearance, and they do want to make sure that they identify that dog to make sure that it is the dog you say it is. So that's something just built in as a safety thing for especially AKC breeders. We're required to have a permanent ID on that dog, which either means a tattoo or a microchip. I don't like doing tattoos. I don't like the way they look. I don't like the process, so I've chosen to do the microchips. And I can tell you a couple instances where they've really been helpful. One was there was a couple that bought a dog from me who retired from my kennel, and she got loose while they were on vacation, and I got a call from a shelter and my name was still on the microchip. They had not transferred it for whatever reason, and so I was able to go right to the litter record for that litter, pull out the names of the people, find her owners and call them, and they were in the Poconos, and so they were able to just go right to the shelter and pick up their dog. Also, I've had two dogs that ran away and didn't have collars on at the time. I don't know how they got out of my yard. One of them was my Chai, and she had puppies, so I never expected that she'd even leave the yard because they really are hesitant to leave the litter or go very far. And then she was with my Mecca, and they decided to take off for whatever reason, and I do believe it might have been because Chai was getting that instinct during the weaning process to go hunt for her puppies. I've had strange things show up in my whelping box 15 to 20 years ago, and we put a stop to that now, but I had a fish end up there one time, and I had a leg bone from a deer, so we're really careful now to make sure that when the mamas do go out during that weaning stage, they're in our side paddock so they can't go out and do that kind of thing. But that might have been what happened, and Mecca decided, I'm gonna go with you. And they ended up about 3 to 5 miles away from here. And I wanna just tell you how I found them. And this is aside from the microchips, but something to remember. I had gotten a call from the gal who used to be one of my professional handlers for my dogs, and she said, try this website called findmydog.com. And I did. I posted that they were missing. I posted a description, and they, I think for like $60, they sent out this email blast to all kennels, veterinarians, shelters in the area. Within a half hour, I got a phone call from somebody that got a phone call from somebody who got a phone call from somebody else who knew that there was these 2 dogs that were running and nobody knew where they were from, and it was Chai and Mecca. So very thankful for that website. Keep it somewhere written down in case you ever need it. They were wonderful. I was very happy with that result. But just remember to do some kind of permanent IDU in case your dog does get loose and they lose their tags. Somebody will be able to find you.